Hi, and welcome to today's episode. We're going to talk about connecting your content to your sales. Does that sound like a good thing? Connecting your content to your sales. Now, you may have heard about social media strategy. Social media strategy is that whole concept that you are doing something with a goal in mind, a mission in mind, so that you can reach your target goals. Welcome to everyone who's coming on. I'd love it if you tap some hearts or one, let me know that you're here. That'd be awesome. Today we're going to be talking about your social media strategy, how to create content that connects with your readership so that you make more sales. Okay? Great. Thank you for the thumbs up. Yay. So I'm going to share three types of posts that you can use to connect with your buyer. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about how you connect that to your particular offer so that you're really taking a strategic approach to this, okay? So does that sound great? Good. All right. So three types of social media posts. And you may have done this, you may have read this, you may use these already in your business. But if you don't, I recommend that you think about it this way. It's going to help, especially if you try to brainstorm your posts. I have no idea why I'm wearing headphones. If you're trying to brainstorm your posts, then you want to do behind the scenes posts. Like those are really, really popular. People love to know like what's going on behind what you're showing in your forward-facing view, right? So if you are a pet sitter, for example, and you're going to pick up a dog to go walk the dog, you can take pictures and say, hey, we're picking up our client here to go out and walk the dog. If you have type of a job where you're more at home behind the desk most of the time, or in your office behind the desk, then you can show pictures of your office. You can show pictures of yourself at events, meeting people when you're out and about. These are really key to show your human face, the human side of your business, and it doesn't take a lot. This is just like a little quick snapshot with your phone, and hey, you're going to post that and say something about it, where you are, what it is, so that people know that. So if you work those in on a regular basis, that's going to help people know a little bit about you and your business. That helps build that whole like, know, and trust factor. So that was number one, behind the scenes. Number two is a curiosity post. So you might think, well, Jennifer, what's a curiosity post all about? Well, curiosity post is when you're obviously trying to bring up the curiosity, right? So you might do this. There are lots of ways you could do this, but so maybe you ask for true and false. You have true and false questions, or you offer myths. If you've written a blog post, you might share just a little teaser of the blog post with the link, and people can go and read the rest of the blog post. You might dispel. You might dispel myths in the industry. Like these that are very commonly known. These are ways that you can share your knowledge and create curiosity, because people want to know about everything, right? We're all just curious. Our brains just go a mile a minute. We're absorbing information. We're taking things in, and it's your job as a professional to provide useful information. And it doesn't even have to always be like something serious. It can be fun. It can be totally fun. But you want to provide information in a way that makes sense, and that would be causing some interest in your potential buyer, right? So that was behind the scenes and our curiosity post. And then number three here is your educational posts. Now, many of you are familiar with those. Those are your standard kind of tips posts, statistics about your industry maybe, things like that. That are very useful. People always say things like, oh, that was such great information. I had no idea. You're welcome, Krista. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes, because we're all in that world where we've been doing whatever it is we do for a very long time, that we have forgotten how much we know. We totally forget how much we know. I can't tell you the number of times over the years that I've either done a live or written a post or spoken at an event or watched someone else do these things, and they say something, or I do, that I think is like super, super beginner level stuff. And people are like, oh my God, that was so useful. I was speaking at an event several years ago, and it was about social media fundamentals and creating a social media strategy. And I was at BlogHer, which is the world's largest social media or blogging event. And I'm standing on the stage, and I've got about 150 people in the room, and someone raises their hand and asks a question about their profile. They had changed directions in their business, and they wanted to start an entirely different Twitter profile, except for they really didn't want to do that because they already had a bunch of people on their original Twitter profile. And I said, well, you can just change your name. And that person had not known that, nor had many of the other attendees not known that, because it was this collective gasp in the air. It was just like, oh, and I just laughed because I was like, yeah, well, great. So there you are. Glad you found value. And so you never know, like, what is really like something you don't even think about anymore that is going to be super beneficial for people in your industry, people who may be looking to do business with you. So those are 3 kinds of posts that you can use. So behind the scenes, the curiosity posts, and then the educational tips. And you're probably all familiar with the educational tips. It's kind of one of the first places that people go. Now, these are not places that you're going to be saying, hey, Rick is going to take care of the slamming door. It's windy here. These are not things you're going to be saying, oh, sign up and buy my thing. That is not the purpose of these posts. Those are different posts. These are posts that are going to create awareness with your audience, connection with your audience, a bonding, engagement, and establishing yourself as a credible human being in what you do, a credible service professional in what you do. That's the purpose of these posts. Now, for the next part of this segment, there is the whole concept of like, okay, so I have this offer, and my offer is, let's say, I write email newsletters. I like to write email newsletters. So let's just say I write email newsletters, and I'm looking for a veterinarian hospital, another veterinarian hospital to add to my roster of clients who wants a regular email newsletter done, right? That's very specific. Do you see how specific that is? Specificity rules when it comes to making sales. So that's my offer. So now I'm going to create posts that lead up around that offer and make sure that they are going into specific groups where those people are. So let me know if that makes sense with some thumbs up or hearts or something, because this is really key. And I think so many business owners, even people who have been doing this for a long time, totally miss the mark on this. Like, they just don't realize this. And so it's so important to think about it. So when you create different posts, so let's say I want to do that, and I need to do it by, I don't know, give me 2 weeks. So like what is it, early March. Okay, so March 5th. We'll put a deadline on this, because these kinds of posts need to have a deadline to them. So you'll have this deadline, and then you'll have said, okay, so you might put a teaser out. We've all seen those teaser posts, I think, where they're like, hey, I've got this new idea coming, and maybe you say something interesting about it, but you don't make the offer yet. Then in the next post, you make a true offer. I mean, like, literally, you say, I'm looking for one veterinary hospital who's looking for newsletter, email newsletter material for a monthly newsletter or twice a month or whatever. And then and you just are really clear about that. You might have a link to a page on your website, maybe not, but you're really clear about who it's for, and you might even state who it's not for. And if you think about this, you've probably seen this on the web in different groups, or if you're being paid. I don't know. I'm kind of a junkie since I write copy. I mean, I'm writing. I'm always observing, and what are people doing? What seems to be working? So so maybe you're not doing that, because that's what I do. But I get a little absorbed and crazy about this. So I have my very specific offer about what it is and who it's for. Okay, and then the third post, and like these can be a few days apart. So in the third post, then I'm going to do what's called the objections post. This is where you try to answer those unanswered objections. Unanswered objections means that they haven't actually, because if you haven't spoken one-on-one, they're not asking you. Even if you do speak to the people one-on-one, people may have an objection that they are not telling you. Maybe they think they don't need an email newsletter to communicate with their clients. Maybe they're thinking they don't have the budget this quarter. Maybe they're thinking they're going to get someone to do it in-house. Maybe they're thinking, they don't know how to do this, and they don't, and it just seems so out of the mainstream thinking for them. There are many, many, many reasons. This applies to everybody. right? Every single service professional. And so if you teach workshops, so people are going to have, oh, my schedule doesn't work, you know, they have all these different objections, or if they're a paid workshop, I don't know if that's the best use of my money, whatever, right? All these objections. So you're answering those objections in this third post. You know, oh, do you think this is not a cost-effective form of, you know, client communication? Well, and then you can provide some industry tips, some statistics, right? And then you can, a lot of times people will have messaged you, or you'll talk to them, and they will have asked you these questions, so then you can be prepared. And just answer them in that post. Go for like 3 or 4, typically. And then you kind of leave that there. And then a few days after that, you can make another post where you're saying, hey, this, you know, the deadline's approaching, we're almost there, this is your, you know, this is the last chance to get in, kind of a thing. So that is very specific, directed towards a very specific offer. So you see this all the time in launches. So if you paid attention to all the online launch craziness that goes on sometimes, you know, there's a deadline, and you take that deadline, you work backwards from there, right? So you create these very specific social media posts around that. Some of that stuff you can turn into a blog post, or you can turn it into an email content, and you're going to work backwards. But this is not fly by the seat of your pants. This is a tried and true formula, which actually has been going on for well before social media ever was around. This dates, you know, as the heart is in like sales, good sales formulas. So that's a little bit about connecting your content with your sales. So you want to make sure you're using different kinds of posts, and when you're actually making a specific sale, like you have a specific offer, then you want to go with these specific types of posts that are related and where you share content about them. And meanwhile, if you were doing like this 5 or 7 series of different posts, you could also be sprinkling in some of that other stuff, like the curiosity post that I mentioned at the beginning, or the behind the scenes. So it kind of becomes seamless. It doesn't feel salesy, and you're educating, providing education along the way, and providing value along the way. And it is really simple. People, of course, are going to say, yes, I want to work with you. Yes, that sounds awesome. Yes, I want to know more. So tell me in the comments, or you can, yeah, tell me in the comments if you will, if you have questions about that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense for you? You want to have a very clear and specific offer with a very clear and specific series of messages that lead up to that. And then you can also have the curiosity posts, the educational posts, the behind the scenes posts. Those can be wrapped right into that. And you can always use those anytime throughout your world, right? So let me know, do you tend to plan social media out in like at the beginning of the week, or once a month, or that kind of a thing? Does anyone do that? Does anyone have trouble coming up with content for themselves, social media posts? You know, and it's so easy to repurpose content anymore. It's so easy that you can take it and you can put it on YouTube, you can put it in your email, you know, it's so easy anymore. Yeah, Krista, add the behind the scenes. You do well with that when you're traveling, because I see your posts when you're traveling, because then of course it makes sense, right? You're in different places and you're meeting interesting people. But you know, showing those curiosity posts throughout the year, that'd be really good for you, I think. Really great. Okay, any other questions, or I'm going to bounce out of here and finish some editing. Anybody else? Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week. I think we'll do the same time. And I have a topic, but I don't have it in front of me. So, all right. See you soon. All right. Bye. Thanks for watching.